Okay, fasten your seatbelts because we're going to learn and grow together. Hit it this time. Thank you so much, Robert. That's why I need him.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here, right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for you.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening friends. So nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who have been tuning in to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show /classroom since 2011, or just stumbled upon the show yesterday, welcome back. But if this is the first time that you've tuned in, please know that I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends at Lillian's radio show on Facebook Live. I'm so excited every time I get to say that you're empower yourself to learn a new truth and embrace the life of your dreams. Now, today, just want to let you know that my brain has already started kind of like going like that, because tomorrow we start our water fast. And I am so excited that Dr. Lee Cowden is on, because he's going to give us some tips on how to endure. I made a decision. I am committing one day at a time, which is what I did when I entered Bible Study Fellowship, and 7 years later, I graduated from the program. But one day at a time, and so I am intending to do all 5 days, but again, I am going to listen to my body, listen to Dr. Clapper, and also be able to have the group that's planning on doing this. If you're still interested in doing the water fast, the 5-day water fast, you need to email me, because we're going to gather on Zoom at 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern time tomorrow, which is the start of the fast. So I'm excited. And I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is that we're going to allow our bodies to heal even more. So stay tuned and be a part of it. If you want to join us, 407-373-5959. If you haven't RSVP'd, it's 407-373-5959. Call or text and let me know that you want to be added, and we'll send you an invitation. Now, today, I have a question for you, because a lot of people think that they're going to do this water fast and lose weight. This is not to lose weight. This is to heal your body. This is to be able to allow your body, and as Dr. Cowden shared a new little tidbit that he'll share with you later on as well, that this is for our body to truly focus on healing as opposed to digestion or as opposed to something else. So if you're in it to win it, 407-373-5959. And so I wonder, if you decide that you don't want to do this, I wonder if you have discovered that there are some diets that people are talking about, they're fabulous, they're releasing weight, they're feeling great, but then you do it and you gain weight. Or you see people that say, oh, this is the latest and greatest food and everybody's eating it, and you eat it. Like if I were to eat something like peanuts or almonds or peas or dairy or meat, red meat, pork, beef, my body just doesn't know how to digest it. But this is an example of how one size does not fit all. And so today we have Dr. Lee Cowden, who, when I saw that he wrote this book, Foods That Fit a Unique You, I thought, you've been holding out on me, Dr. Cowden. I didn't realize that he had done this. So today, Dr. Lee Cowden, he is a internationally renowned, U.S. board certified, integrative cardiologist, Dr. Lee Cowden, and he's going to share simple criteria for choosing the foods that best match your body. Wow. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that Dr. Cowden is here to do just that. Welcome, Dr. Cowden, to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show classroom.
Thank you for having me on today.
Yes. So before we get into this, you had said something very interesting of what happens to our body on the 5th day of a fast.
Well, if you do a water fast for 5 days, then you start releasing stem cells from your bone marrow that get into your bloodstream and go to the places in the body that need repair. And then the body starts repairing itself. But it doesn't happen on the 3rd or the 4th day. It happens on the 5th day.
And so what happens on the 6th day?
More stem cells. And the 7th day, more stem cells.
How long can you effectively do a fast by yourself? Because we are doing, Dr. Michael Clapper is going to be supervising me. And then we together, the group that's getting together, we're going to be support to one another. If there's some issues that come up, I'll mention it to Dr. Clapper as well.
People that have never done a fast before probably are not wise to try to do a 5-day fast the first time they do it.
Okay.
They should do 1 or 2 or no more than 3-day fast the first time they do it. It's a shock to the body, and the body is going to massively detoxify. The fasting, water fasting processes cause a lot of toxins to come out of the fat stores of the body and the organs of the body. And if your detox organs are stressed, they won't be able to handle that toxic load, and so you'll feel terrible, and you'll say, "When can I stop this thing?" But if you've been fasting periodically, then your toxic load is lower. If you've been using infrared sauna periodically, your toxic load is lower, so you'll be able to do those longer fasts, 5, 6, 7, 8 days fast. And you need to listen to your body. Your body will tell you when you've had enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you know when you've had enough?
Your body says, I feel like I can't put one foot in front of the other. I need some nourishment. I need something that I'm not getting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any tips because I know that we're used to, I think one of the reasons why I want to do a fast is I feel that I need a healthier relationship with food, because I could eat all day long. I love to eat. I choose to eat healthier foods. So because my mom is obese, and I have a sister that is morbidly obese, or has been morbidly obese. And so because of that, I started my journey in nutrition because I felt that I didn't want to be that way. So I wanted to learn ways that my body would be able to eat a lot without having to worry about weight. I don't know if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So I want a different kind of relationship with that. I want to be able to say, I'll eat when I'm hungry, because Dr. Furman talks about that all the time, but I'm always hungry.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of reasons for that. Most Americans say, eat for taste, and if it happens to also be good for your health, then that's a nice side benefit. Mm-hmm. The Chinese say, eat for health, if it happens to also be good tasting, then that's a nice side benefit. They have it right, we have it wrong. Mm. So you want to make sure that you're eating for the right reasons, that Correct. You're eating because you're physically hungry, not emotionally hungry. Mm-hmm. Most people eat because they're emotionally hungry, and you should not try to fix emotional hunger with food. It's a bad idea. It causes obesity.
I think that's great advice. Okay, so for those of us who are going through the water fast, any tips for realizing that we got a habit of eating and breaking that habit of eating? In breaking that habit of eating, we'll probably want to eat So are there any tips to kind of like make it to the next
Yeah,
craving?
yeah. In the United States, most people eat way too much sugar, way too much carbohydrate, and because of that, they have funguses and pathological bacteria that love sugars growing in their gut.
Mm-hmm.
And so the funguses have little finger-like projections called hyphae,
Mm-hmm.
and those hyphae can extend through the bowel wall into the bloodstream that runs right outside the bowel, and those little hyphae then start stealing sugar molecules out of the bloodstream as it goes past the bowel, and pretty soon the blood sugar drops so low that the patient says, "I'll kill for a candy bar."
Ooh,
And so the killing for the candy bar is not because your cells need extra sugar, it's because the fungus that's controlling you is
making
needing
a
more
demand.
sugar. And if you push on through that, then the funguses start dying off and stop extracting sugar from your bloodstream, and your
Ooh.
blood sugar comes back up. That happens about 24 to 72 hours out. And if you can make it past that, then usually the fast gets a lot easier.
So tips on making it through the first 24 to 72 hours,
Yeah.
meditation, what else?
Yeah, well, if you want to increase the probability of succeeding with a water fast, you about a month before the water fast, you go onto a ketogenic diet and stop feeding the fungus.
Ooh,
Ketogenic means no sugar, no starch, no fruit juices, things that would feed fungus. And then by the time you get ready for your water fast, then there's no significant amount of fungus in there that's going to steal blood sugar and drop your blood sugar level to the point where you say, "I'll kill for a candy bar."
mm.
So that markedly increases the likelihood of success with your fast,
Okay.
your water fast.
Yes. So
Yeah,
since the,
yeah, and the other way to do it is to do intermittent fasting, every week. So in other words, that you start out by trying to go 18 hours. You go from 6 p.m. until noon the next day without eating anything. And then when you finally do eat, you eat, some fat calories that will feed all the cells of your body except your red blood cells. And as long as you have enough glycogen stores in your liver and your muscles, they will provide the sugar that your red blood cells need. Your
got
red
it.
blood cells cannot use fat for metabolism because they don't have any mitochondria. It's the mitochondria in our cells that metabolize fat for producing ATP energy.
Okay. So since the fast is tomorrow, let's say we want to join in for 1 day or 5 days or whatever, depending on
Yeah,
any
yeah,
quick.
whatever your body says you should do, you start into it, and whenever you say, "I've had enough," you go back off of it. But
Okay.
that doesn't mean that you're not going to do a longer one the next time you do it. So if every week you can increase the number of hours that you do the fast, then you're succeeding. So maybe this week you're doing an 18-hour fast, maybe next week you do a 24-hour fast, maybe the next week you do a 36-hour fast, maybe the next week you do a 48-hour fast. And so after a few weeks, you're up to a 5-day fast where you finally get stem cell release from your bone marrow and you start regenerating your body.
I love it. Hey, listen, that's a win-win. So for those of you who are still going to join us for the fast tomorrow, you can choose, I'm saying, let's go in it and listen to your body and decide what you want to do, but let's continue to do this together. Whether you choose to do a juice fast or you do a water fast or you do an intermittent fast, if you're
Yeah.
choosing to do a fast, let's all do it together. And
Yeah.
I will talk to Dr. Clapper. But I think this is great words of wisdom. We'll
Yeah.
know what to do, Dr. Cowden, regarding
Yeah.
this. And so anything else that you would like to add that maybe I didn't ask?
Well, yeah, if you're going to do a fruit, sorry,
Greens.
a
Yeah.
vegetable fast, or sorry, a juice fast rather than a water fast, then
Cleanse.
do vegetables, not fruits, because
Yeah.
the fruits are going to feed the fungus more. The lean vegetables will not. So use as your base of your juice, yellow crookneck squash, zucchini, patty pan squash, cucumber, celery, something that has some substance, and then add to that some greens, some spinach, some kale, some arugula, some endive, some bok choy. Also add to it some ginger root, some turmeric root, some, if you're tough enough, a little bit of horseradish root,
Mm,
some lemon or some lime. To give a variety of different effects. Lemon stimulates the drainage of your lymphatic system. Ginger helps to support your gut. Turmeric is very, very helpful for the immune system and for your liver. And if you do a dandelion, that's also very good for your liver.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're adding in the foods in the juice that would help to support the organs that need to be supported while you're fasting.
Okay, so great advice, Dr. Cowden. I think that everybody join us where you're at. Whatever it is that you're wanting to do, that will be great. So if you want to do a water fast or a juice cleanse or a intermittent fast, let's still, if we're using the word fast or cleanse, let's still come together. Let's form this group. If you want to, now that you know that these are other options for you, let's just get the body ready so that it will automatically release the stem cells. Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that that was a benefit. I just thought I just wanted to see what happened to my body if I were to just give it just love, instead of like I'll eat when I'm bored, Dr. Cowden. I eat when I'm bored.
Yeah. Well, that's an emotional eating. You shouldn't do that. So when you think about food, the first thing you should do is ask the question, am I thinking about food because I am emotionally empty, or am I physically empty? If you're physically empty, then find a good food, a healthy food. If you're emotionally empty, then fix that in some other way.
Yes.
Do some prayer, do some meditative work, do some emotion code release of emotional toxins. There's all kinds of things you can do on yourself to resolve the emotions that cause you to eat impulsively.
I'm thinking about what emotional aspect can someone who's bored just be eating because they want something to do? Like if I'm working and I'm tired, I'll get up and I'll go to the refrigerator and I'll eat on a carrot or a celery or an apple, and then I'll come back and I'll work. And that gives me a little bit of energy to continue to work without feeling so tired.
Well, sometimes when you're feeling tired, you're tired because your blood sugar's dipped too low because the fungus has been eating your sugar. And so in that case, don't eat sugar, eat a vegetable. Eat something that will bring your blood sugar back up without feeding the fungus.
Okay.
Go eat a zucchini stick or a cucumber stick or a celery stick. None of those will feed the fungus, but they will feed you.
I once heard, a analogy of, your microbiome being like a neighborhood. And if they released all the prisoners from the area where you live and they took over your neighborhood and start making demands, and, would you move out of the neighborhood or would you fight for your neighborhood? What would you do? And, people are afraid to be in their neighborhood because there's so many shootings, but they stay there and they live with it. And so we have an opportunity to kick out this crazy bacteria out of our gut, of our neighborhood, our microbiome, and do something different. And so every step is a great step in the right direction when it comes to what you're talking about. So I'm looking forward to seeing how my body reacts, because I'm thinking about how I've in the last, I would say, since I started writing my book, I stopped drinking alcohol 100%. Not that I drink a lot of alcohol.
High five.
Thank you. Well, I figured I feel like an expectant mother, and I never drank as an expectant mother. So while I'm creating this book and it's coming out of me, I want to be completely of sound mind.
Yeah, well, the alcohol does not feed you. It feeds the microbes inside your gut that you don't want to feed. It feeds the funguses, it feeds the pathological bacteria. So why do you want to do that? To improve the success of those terrorists in your neighborhood?
Correct.
Or do you want to say, okay, we're going to cut off your food supply, and you're just going to have to go elsewhere?
Yep, that's exactly right. So for those of you who are watching on Facebook Live right now, I know that I'm seeing some messages, and we will address those messages in a little bit. I want to change the subject because I'm really excited, but at the same time, I have a bit of apprehension, and I'm sure that tomorrow, once we get started, and I've noticed this, Dr. Cowden, when I do like a fast, let's say a colonoscopy, or I'm doing some procedures where I can't eat, I feel good.
Yeah.
I really do feel good.
Yeah. Fasting usually results in mental clarity, usually results in ability to more clearly evaluate and do something about your toxic emotions. It opens up your crown chakra for a connection to the creator of the universe. So you get multiple benefits besides the physical benefits.
Mm. I'm actually right now, after you said that, I'm looking forward to it. I thought it was going to be a little bit more crying and a lot of praying to get me through the next day. So maybe that's why I'll feel a little connected to my source.
Yeah. Well, so look to the creator to help you through what you need to get through, and say to the creator, teach me from this what you want me to learn from this experience. You'll be amazed what you see. A lot
Well,
of people are praying, but they're praying all the time, speaking. They never stop talking. They're always speaking, praying. But prayer really should be about listening, so getting quiet, getting still during your fast, and listening for the creator of the universe to communicate with you. Sometimes a thought will pop into your head and you say, where'd that thought come from?
yes,
And you dwell on that thought, and the more you dwell on it, the more peace you get. That's the creator of the universe speaking to you.
absolutely.
If you get uneasiness thinking about that, it's probably not the creator of the universe. It's probably the dark side of the universe. And so you can reject that thought because it probably didn't come in from the creator.
Interestingly enough, Dr. Cowden, you and I have talked privately about my health issues right now. And that was the question I asked my body. I believe in this. I believe that my body can heal 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that God made us all perfect
Mm-hmm.
and that we can restore our body. I know that there are people that struggle with physical conditions or other conditions where they cannot walk or they cannot do certain things. But I believe that even a little bit at a time, we can restore our body. Even if it's not 100% perfect, we still can take steps to restore our body. And right before, I've just been dumbfounded because none of my blood work matches. My blood work is perfect. Everything about, if you were to look on the inside out, everything is perfect. But then I knew there was something going on, and you and I have privately discussed that, and I'm not ready or at liberty to talk
Well,
about it right now. But
yeah.
I asked my body. I
Mm-hmm.
said, body, teach me what I need to know.
Mm-hmm.
Guide me to where I need to go.
Yeah.
And I'm
Some, some,
listening.
Something you said is very important. Allopathic medicine uses tests that are very insensitive, whether that's an X-ray or a MRI scan or a blood test. Those tests are very insensitive. They call the chemistry profile part of that test. They call the liver function test. Well, if the enzymes go up, that means the liver cells are dying. Is that a very good measure of function? That's pretty far advanced stage of liver deterioration, is it not?
Yes.
So we need something more sensitive than that to find out how our body's doing internally. So you could use infrared imaging thermography, computerized regulation thermometry, heart rate variability, electrodermal screening, muscle testing. There's lots of ways to look at the body more sensitively than with the standard allopathic tests.
Yes. And that's what led me to having our conversation
Yeah.
and your great advice, and one that is kind of scary, but at the same time, knowing that I need to take some steps to create the health that I know I'm walking and going towards, moving towards. But
Yeah.
there are certain things from our past, decisions that we've made in the past that we think they're not even correlated
Yeah.
with parts of our body that are malfunctioning right now. And
Yeah.
so I made the commitment back right before I turned 50. I want the next 50 years to be healthier than my first 50 years. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not that I'm unhealthy. I've always been healthy,
Yeah.
allopathically, numerically, as you said, but not necessarily in the sensitive way that you're talking about. So once I had my thermogram, and I just had the thermometry done as well with Dr. Stephen Grable, I realized that there's inflammation in my body and I need to address it. And I am 100% in, and I thank you for your coaching through all of that, Dr. Cowden, because it has made a difference. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Yes. And so now I want to talk about this book. Why did you decide, with all the things that are out there, why did you decide that you wanted to write this book? And by the way, 10th caller or texter, 407-373-5959. That's 407-373-5959. And Ashley, if you're listening, if you can put the information, the number, you will get a copy of this book. We're giving several books away. So 407-373-5959. That's Foods That Fit a Unique You. So why did you decide to write this with Connie Strasheim? Is that how you pronounce her name?
Strasheim, yeah.
Strasheim.
Yeah, so, sometimes the creator of the universe gives us signals of something that we're supposed to do. So 3 patients in rapid succession said, Dr. Cowden, what food book would you recommend that I go by? And I looked, and there wasn't one. There was hundreds of food books on the shelf, but none of them were one that I could recommend for those patients. And because they were all individuals. Those were all individuals. And the books that are on the shelf are written for a population of patients that have obesity, or that have hypothyroidism, or that have, blood type A or B or O, or, a certain metabolic type, or blah, 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 on and on and on. There's hundreds of books out there, and each one has a little piece of the truth in it. But none of them work for everybody.
Right.
None of them work for everybody. And I thought, well, that's a terrible situation. We need to have a book that allows the people to figure out who they are as individuals, and figure out what foods they need to be on as individuals. And so that's what the book is about, is to help people to figure out what they should be doing for their health, not to try to fit into their round peg into some square hole, or vice versa, but to find out what is the right one for them. And so that's why.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. And so how do we determine, because I've had food allergies, and I've dealt with food allergies since 1998, and I didn't know there were sensitivities at the time. And so I learned after I had a blood test that what I was feeling was associated with my food. And I had confirmation of what the foods were when I eliminated the food. Then I learned I could feel better. So what are different ways? Because allergies, I understand, are intermittent. One day you don't react to it, but another day it'll kill you.
Yeah, well, the problem is a lot of allopathic doctors do a blood test and see that the person has allergies to 5 foods. And if you ask the patient, which they usually don't, what foods have you eaten in the last 3 days? It's all 5 of those foods. And so you develop allergies to the things that you eat recently. Almost everyone in the United States has leaky gut. Everybody in the United States has holes in their gut wall, which makes them prone to developing allergies to the foods that they're eating regularly, frequently. So what I say is, and the reason is because there's people in the United States eat way too much sugar and starch, as we said, so they have fungus in their gut, poking holes in their gut wall. Most people actually have parasites and don't recognize it, and so the parasites are poking holes in their gut wall. And then they eat foods that have Roundup in it. Roundup disrupts the gut barrier. And you say, well, no, I eat only organic. Well, no, that's not so. Last year, there was 2 billion pounds of Roundup sprayed in the United States, and statistically speaking, if it rained, there was a 70% chance there was Roundup in the rain. So unless your food that you're eating was grown inside of a greenhouse with charcoal air intakes on the greenhouse, you're not eating organic food, even though they say you're eating organic food. So we need to get back into the business of growing our own foods in the backyard, harvesting them ripe and eating them immediately, but grow them inside of a greenhouse with charcoal air intakes on the greenhouse if you want to have really good food. And you bring in some organic compost, some red lava rock, and crush it up, and that becomes the minerals for the soil. And pretty soon you have a good humus in the soil that will make the ability for the plants to take up those minerals into the plant and make the organic complexes and the vitamins and the minerals and the carbohydrates and the fats and the proteins and everything else that the plants make.
Amazing, amazing. It's so complicated, Dr. Cowden, to think that even if we're eating organic, I mean, it's less, but the rain that's falling from the sky has the residue from all the glyphosates, from the pesticides.
Yeah. Well, the good news is that there's been some lawsuits where people have won millions of dollars from ex Monsanto, who's now Bayer of Germany, and more suits in the pipeline. So as a result of that, Bayer decided to stop making Roundup, but they have another toxic substance that they're going to put in place of it, and it'll cause some of the same things that Roundup is, and it'll take another 10 or 15 years for attorneys to prove that that's causing illness and death. And so then when they come under attack from that one legally, then they'll put their next one out. So that's just the way the system is. There's no testing and approval process for pesticides and herbicides, even in the United States, even though there should be. So we all become guinea pigs.
Yes, we are. And when they did the same thing with the plastic, they were like, okay, we won the battle of the BPA, and please announce that the BPA, but then they changed the name to BPS, and we still don't know if BPA or BPS. So if it's BPA free, it could have BPS.
Right.
They just keep playing games, and we just keep buying it.
Yeah. One of the big chemical companies say better living with chemistry. That's a lie. Yeah, you're talking about your show being about truth. Make sure you expose the lies if you want to have truth.
Absolutely. And then we can make an informed choice. Many people are not, they don't even know they're choosing it for themselves. I just went through with my children back and forth because they want me to make cream chicken or one of the dishes that I used to make when they were younger. And it's like, this is what they want. And I want my children to be happy, but I know better. I know better that it's not good.
But you're a creative person. You can almost certainly change that recipe so that it has healthy things in it and still tastes good, but is not harmful to their health. Don't use cow dairy. Use coconut milk. Use almond milk or some other nut milk, etc. So figure out what to substitute into the recipe, and don't use just regular canned chicken. Use free range chicken that you bake and pull apart and put into the recipe.
Yes, absolutely, and I will do that. And you've given me a great idea. So we were going back and forth, and they always had this thing about washing the pan after the cream chicken. And so I told them, I said, we're not using aluminum pans, and so. Who's going to do the dishes? And it brought back all sorts of laughter of how until you know better, when you know better, you can do better, but they're not accepting of that. So I'm still, working that through my brain and how I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Well, if you have adult children, when they come to your house, they go by your rules. When they do it in their own house, they're going to do whatever they want to do.
I know they
but
won't
but at least you can be an example still to them when they come to your house for a meal.
Yes, I will have 2 meals. I will have 2 meals that they can choose from, and hopefully they will choose the one that's a healthier option. Well, I guess I'm just.
No, let me tell you something. My wife made a chocolate pie, and my oldest grandson came over, and she said, "Would you like a piece of chocolate pie?" And he said, "Yes." And so she gave him a pretty good chunk, and he ate it very fast. And he said, "Boy, that's good. Can I have another?" She said, "Yes." And then he ate the second one. She said, "Would you like to know what I made it from?" You knew what was about to happen.
Black bean.
So she made it from mashed up avocado, 100% pure cacao, stevia for a sweetener, and crushed pecans for the crust, with a coconut butter to stick the crust together. Okay, so perfectly healthy, tasted great, and he didn't know the difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have lots of
So that's what you do with your kids when they come over. You give them, you taste test the recipe before you give it to them. But you say, I think you're going to like this. This is a what did you say, cream chicken recipe that I've come up with.
Yeah. Well, I wish that I will propose I will propose a vegan, and then I'll propose something else, and I will make it as healthy as I possibly can. But it's,
if you have two choices though, make both of them healthy.
of
You don't have to,
course.
if they're in your house, you don't have to make one of them unhealthy and one of them healthy. Make both of them healthy.
Okay. Deal. High five. High five. Okay. So let's talk about the 6 factors to consider, because that's a part of the book that I really thought was interesting, that we could probably talk all day about. And so let's talk about the allergies and all the different ways that we already talked about allergies and sensitivities.
Well,
Let's
just
talk
to
about other things.
touch on allergies, I need to actually go into that a little bit more.
Okay.
So anybody listening can learn what allergies they have and prevent future allergies with a simple process.
Okay.
And it's called the 4-day rotational diet, with stress reduction techniques before every meal, coca pulse testing before and after every meal, and eliminating the foods that raise the pulse. That's it. Okay, so if they want to learn more detail about that, then get the book. But basically, you can identify all the allergies that you have to foods or supplements just by doing the coca pulse test, as long as you've done the stress reduction technique before you do the coca pulse test. Because a lot of people are in high stress when they start to eat the meal, and then they eat the meal, and by the time they finish the meal, they're less stressed. And so it's not a fair apples and apples comparison if you compare the stress level before the meal to the non-stress level after the meal. Okay, you want to compare the non-stress level before the meal to the non-stress level after the meal.
Very
So a
good.
stress reduction technique I'll show you right now.
Okay.
If all your listeners put their left index and left thumb together and wrap their hand around that like that and lay that in their lap, and then as they're holding that in their lap, they take some deep breaths in through the nose, to warm the air, hold the breath for 1 second to expand the air sacs in the lungs, and breathe out through the mouth so that the air comes out fast enough, and keep breathing like that, in through the nose, hold 1 second, out through the mouth, and close the eyes and visualize themselves in the most relaxing place that they've ever been, and remember that place with all of the senses: sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell. If you just do this for 4 minutes before the meal, it'll calm the stress level down markedly, especially if you're doing it regularly. If you do it once, it's probably not going to bring down the stress that much. But by the time you do this for 4 weeks consistently, you can bring stress down consistently very quickly, usually less than 4 minutes, in a really stressful situation. So you don't have to wait for the meal to do this. You can do it in the middle of the morning when you're having a really high stress situation going on, or the middle of the afternoon, the middle of the evening. But do it before every meal. Do it before every bedtime, so that you improve your digestion, improve your absorption, improve your immune function. If you do it before bedtime, it's going to improve how fast you fall asleep, how deeply you fall asleep, and how much healing you get while you're asleep.
Wow.
So it's a simple thing to get a lot of benefit. If you do the testing of your pulse rate right after you do this, then you're going to get a more reliable baseline resting pulse. If you take the pulse 15 minutes after the meal is finished, without getting up and running around and doing a bunch of stuff, or watching distressing news, or having an argument at the table, then you're going to have a true apples and apples comparison before and after the meal. If the pulse rate goes up 10 to 14 beats, you probably had an allergy reaction in that meal. If it goes up 15 beats or more, you definitely had an allergy reaction in that meal. You can use this to test vitamins and minerals and homeopathics and pharmaceuticals and foods and other types of supplements and drinks that you drink, vegetable juices, whatever. So
Interesting. 4 minutes, you would think that, we take time to pray, we take time to bless our food, But to be able to do that for 4 minutes requires awareness. It
Yeah,
requires a commitment because
yeah,
we are mindless eaters. We really are. And when I say we, I mean me.
yeah,
Although I make better choices now in my life, but
yeah,
it's like, let's eat, because I need to eat by this time, by this
yeah,
time, by this time. And it's
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah,
conditioning.
if you sit down to eat and you're really stressed out, we know that you're going to eat faster, chew fewer bites per you know per bite of food, and get less digestion of that food in your gut. We know that you're going to have a greater difficulty with digesting the food and greater chance of indigestion and gas and bloating and all that stuff. So why not do the stress reduction before the meal and eliminate all those problems?
Wow, wow, wow. Okay, so that's the allergen. So then you're talking about certain people that have certain conditions. And we talked about this with the fast, that if you are taking medications, you don't qualify for the fast, the water fast. Maybe you can do a juice cleanse or something else. But for people who are taking, that have diagnosed conditions, you talked about fungal infections, cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure, cardiovascular, adrenal fatigue, hyperthyroid, chronic Lyme disease, chronic fatigue syndrome, depression, gout, oxalate, excess, and then it's intolerance,
Hmm.
sinus infection, headache, PMS, and digestive issues. So
Yeah.
with that in mind, when you have these kind of diseases, that's something that we can restore.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
what is your suggestion for people with these conditions?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a different
Global. Yeah.
it's a different thing for each condition, obviously, but you
But
want
just an awareness
yeah,
for,
yeah, yeah. You want to make sure that whatever you do balances your pH of the saliva, because if it doesn't, you're going to end up in trouble. Okay, now your saliva pH should be 6.8 to 7.2 prior to the meal. That means you spit 3 times into the trash or the toilet. 4 spit goes onto a pH paper that measures from 5.5 to 8.0, and it should be 6.8 to 7.2 pH range. You tell that by the color on the pH paper. So
mhm.
you compare the pH, the color of the pH paper that you spit on to the color wheel that's in the packet, and write down the pH. And so if you're below 6.8, you're acidic. Okay, that means that you're probably consuming, either you're too stressed out, you're having too many food allergens, or you're eating foods that are wrong for your metabolic type. You're eating too many meats and grains and dairy and stuff like that, and you should be eating more vegetables.
Mhm.
Uh, Most people are not above 7.2, but that would be an alkaline type. And so if a person has excessive alkalinity, that's usually because some of the bugs in their body are breaking down amino acids into ammonia, and ammonia is causing their pH to be greater than 7.2. And so that's a dysbiosis usually,
Mhm.
abnormal critters in your gut.
Mhm.
And so a lot of times you can put, get, put the right types of foods and the right types of prebiotics, which is the fibers and stuff like that, as well as some friendly bacteria in the gut, and crowd the bad guys out. Uh, you know, so most of the probiotics on the market have 1 to 25 species of friendly bacteria. We know from the research that was done on the gut of the caveman that was dug up in the Alps back in 1985, that we should have 20,000 species of friendly bacteria in our gut.
Ooh.
The study done by Mayo Clinic also in that middle of the 80s showed that most Americans at that point only had 500 species. So we'd lost 19,500 species by the mid-1980s. We've lost additional species since then because of antibiotics, pesticides, herbicides increasing since then, and killing more friendly bacteria off. So we're in a mess. We know that our immune system is largely dependent on the microbes that live in our gut. And so we don't have the microbes living in our gut that should be living in our gut, then we're going to have a disrupted immune system where you're going to have autoimmune disease or immune suppression and be more susceptible to viruses and bacteria and funguses and so on.
Yeah, yeah. So you suggest that prebiotics, probiotics are something that we should
Yeah, yeah,
use.
yeah.
Now, Zach Bush said in his presentation at the ACIM, by the way, for those of you who want to learn more about Dr. Cowden goes around teaching medical doctors or professionals. You don't have to be a medical doctor. All professionals or people who are interested, someone like me who doesn't have a certification, could become a coach or learn for your own benefit. ACIM Connect, you can learn more. So I went to the ACIM Connect, which is normally in November in Orlando. Zach Bush said that our natural body that we really don't need probiotics, and that the long-term effect.
This is a far superior way, because if you get the friendly bacteria from breathing the right air, you're going to get closer to 20,000 species than 1 to 25 species if you take pills out of a bottle. Now, there's some types of probiotics that are given to animals that work really well for humans as well.
Really?
But since they're not approved for humans, then I can't recommend those, because the companies might get in trouble with the FDA because they're not approved for that purpose. But I know of a couple of companies that sell some friendly bacteria for beef, and for beef cattle, and for goats and sheep and horses and stuff. And they have closer to 20,000 species in each dose, each serving. And so those products cause those animals to thrive. I mean, they don't just survive, they thrive. And it's because it's improving their immune system and causing the body to attack the stuff that's not supposed to be there. And so they just do great. But if you can't moo or whinny or bleat like a sheep, then you need to probably go to the different environments and breathe your microbes in, and let those take up residence in your gut.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to go back and listen to everything you said and take notes, because that's amazing. So let's go ahead and move forward, because there's so much that I want to talk about. And so you talked about the alkaline. What about our metabolic type? I know that some people say I need to speed up my metabolism, but Dr. Joel Fuhrman says you want to have a slow metabolism. You don't want to overeat. You want to undereat and have the calories that are nutrient rich. So what would you say about this metabolism and the type metabolism and all of that?
Yeah, well, Dr. I guess
Joel Fuhrman.
William Donald Kelly was the very first doctor to do much work with the metabolic type. He was a biological dentist in Grapevine, Texas, back in the 1960s, who got pancreatic cancer metastatic to his liver. And the doctor said, "You got 2 months to live. Go take a cruise and do your will." Instead, he went to the library and found an article from 1910, I think it was, and learned how to shift his cancer paradigm by taking large doses of proteolytic enzymes 30 minutes before food with water only, and changing his diet. So he changed his diet to a diet that balances saliva pH. And so, he didn't make it complicated, but anyway, in 2 months' time, not only was he not dead, he was completely free of cancers. After that, many of his patients who knew that he was supposed to die start sending their friends that had cancer, and he helped several hundred patients resolve cancer in their bodies, until he was attacked maliciously and viciously by the Texas Medical Board and had a psychological breakdown and ended up in a psychiatric institution. Yeah. Unfortunately, he's now deceased, but one of his students, William Wolcott, wrote a book called The Metabolic Typing Diet. And so that's a very cursory, very superficial explanation of what Dr. Kelly was doing. Dr. Kelly wrote a book also, but it's very, very detailed. Dr. McCullough has on his website a historical questionnaire that you can take to kind of get an idea which metabolic type you might be. But I'll just give it simply for the listeners right now, that if a person eats meat and feels a whole lot better, then they're probably a protein type. If a person eats vegetables and feels a whole lot better, they're probably an herbivore type, predominantly. And if you can do, let's say, meat for a day and not feel bad, but periodically you have to have vegetables in order to feel better, But periodically you have to have meat in order to feel better. That means you're a mixed metabolic type. So you need to pay attention to what your body's saying to you. And as far as boosting the immune system up, we need to get the body temperatures up. Most people walk around with a body temperature below 97.8 degrees Fahrenheit under their arm when they wake up in the morning, and it should be 97.8 to 98.6. And so if it's below 97.8, then that means that they have a hypothyroid condition.
I do.
And you say, well, why would they have that? Well, the answer is usually that their thyroid, in their blood tests are normal, okay? But the blood tests don't distinguish between tetraiodothyronine and tetrafluorothiothioneine. So you can have fluoride molecules on your thyroid hormone, and it has no action inside your cell. You can have bromine molecules on your thyroid hormone, and it can have no action inside your cell, and the test does not distinguish that. So back in the 1940s, they did tests to figure out what amount of iodine need to be taken per day in order to have normal thyroid function and normal metabolic rate and normal body temperatures. And it was 150 to 200 micrograms per day. Today, it's between 12,000 micrograms and 30,000 micrograms per day, just a little bit higher.
Of what?
Iodine.
Of iodine.
Iodine. Okay, so the reason we have to have so much more iodine now is because we have chlorine in our water supply, which goes in through our skin and through our lungs when we breathe in a hot shower. It goes in through our gut when we drink it. We have bromine in the food supply and in sodas. Most sodas have bromine in it. Most refined wheat products have bromine in it. And then there's a lot of other patients that are getting a combination of those things. So in order to get the chlorine and the fluoride and the bromine out of the body, you need to be taking enough iodine to push it out. And so if you take Lugol's iodine on the skin and it disappears in less than 12 hours, you're deficient, assuming that you're not heating the body up. If you're staying calm, cool, and collected indoors, and the iodine, Lugol's iodine drop stays on the skin less than 12 hours, you're deficient. And you keep increasing the dose on the skin until you maintain the drop of iodine on the skin for close to 24 hours. Then you're caught up.
And is the dose that you put on your arm, is that enough to give you the iodine, or do you still do the drops?
No, you'll absorb about 10% of it. So if you have to take 20 drops on the skin, then that's equivalent to about 2 drops orally. Okay. So you can do it every day of the week, 2 drops orally, and then 1 day a week, put it on the skin to see how long it takes to disappear. And that way you can adjust your iodine dosage up and down to make sure that your body temperature is high enough to have normal metabolism. The other thing that will improve your metabolism is improving the health of your mitochondria. The very best way to improve the health of your mitochondria is to detoxify. So fasting helps to detoxify your mitochondria. Also, exercising with oxygen therapy improves your mitochondrial health. And so that's another thing that your listeners can do to improve their health. There's a biohack that figured out how to make an exercise with oxygen system for about $500, $600 on the internet. And
really?
Yeah. So you can biohack, exercise with oxygen therapy.
Whoa, I need to learn more about that. Okay, so I want to remind you, for those of you who would like a copy of this book, it's Foods That Fit the Unique You. Fit a unique you. The 10th caller or texter, 407-373-5959. If you call, I don't answer the phone during the show. I can't do both. But you can, after the show, I'll check it out and I'll let you know if you win. 407-373-5959. I also want to make sure that you know that whenyouneedafriend.com, we are entirely free and supported by the sponsors, but we need your help as well. So we have set up a page for you if you'd like to become a sponsor yourself or be a part of the classroom. An enrolled student is what we call it. You can go to whenyouneedafriend.com, check out that new site. Every bit helps to be able to send out the book. There's a cost to the show. And thank God for our sponsors. If you go to whenyouneedafriend.com, please subscribe. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me, like me, share this information, because you're not going to hear this on the mainstream media. And it comes at a cost. And so I want to join forces, this empowerment and freedom of informed choice, of knowing what you're doing to yourself. Once you learn about it, if you keep doing it, then you'll know. It's like putting sand in your gas tank and expecting your car to run. So I want to encourage you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com, not only subscribe, but check out my sponsors who have stepped out with me and said, we are supporting you. Sponsors like Liberty Health Share, Keep Me Safe Organics, which are beauty products. You get 10% off of Keep Me Safe Organics, your entire purchase, when you purchase it through my website at whenyouneedafriend.com. First Alternative Care, that's 24/7 non-urgent care, telemedicine, dermatology, and 3 hours a year of behavioral health counseling for $35 an entire household. And we have Dr. Stephen Grable, who is taking a stand with the show as well, and is saying, I believe, and Dr. Stephen Grable, by the way, is an ICIM student. And that's how I met him, through Dr. Lee Cowden. And so he's in Jacksonville, and we've done shows, and he's going to be on next week as well. We also have the pharmacy in Merritt Island that allows you to, he creates compounding medicines, not just for you, but also for your animals. So instead of taking the pill orally, you can do it on the skin. And we're going to continue briefly after the show to continue with Dr. Lee Cowden. But I want to encourage you to share this information and learn this new truth. Once you learn it, you can't unlearn it. Dr. Lee Cowden, thank you so much for being a part of the broadcast today.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
And we're not done. So please remember, I'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott and Dr. Lee Cowden wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. That's the best ever you've done, Dr. Cowden. Here we go. Let's wait till after the show now.
Yeah.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
Okay, so we're going to address any question that you have for the next 5 or so minutes. So go ahead and post it. I'm going to read the comments. I'm glad that you guys are loving Dr. Lee Cowden. Isn't he amazing? He really is. So, yes, all the stuff we learned about our bacteria. Mandy, thank you so much for joining us. And Wendy, thank you so much. And Victoria, so faithful, top #1 fan. Mandy, did you want to learn about biofeedback, or you were saying that that is another way to learn a little bit more? Tell us about biofeedback, Dr. Cowden.
Yeah, well, there's lots of different types of biofeedback. You can put a little probe on the end of a finger and see what your temperature is, and then focus on bringing that temperature up. And usually within a few minutes, you can increase by 5 or 10 degrees. And so that's an effect of the brain on the autonomic nervous system. And then there's also neurofeedback, which is putting electrodes on your scalp and changing your EEG as a result of your brain changing by what you see and what you're wanting to have happen. Yeah, so there's lots of different types of feedback processes that can be very beneficial to health.
So Dr. Lee Cowden has ACIM Connect, and I want to encourage you to go to that website. Is it acimconnect.com or .org? For some reason, it just flew out of my head. .com.
Yeah, .com, yes.
.com, yes. It just flew out of my head and went back in. So you can go to ACIM Connect and learn more. There are doctors who are learning with Dr. Lee Cowden that I want to encourage you to support as well. These are doctors that are thinking outside the box. they're learning a new truth with Dr. Cowden. And so I want to encourage you to reach out. So if you have any questions, we have a question from Virginia. And hi, Jessica from Ohio. Love the fact that you're watching today as well. So Virginia from, I don't know where you're from, Virginia, but she wants to know about detox water, please.
Yes. So if you're going to do a water fast, you want the water to be as good and clean as it can be, because if you try to do a water fast with the tap water from a regular city, it's not going to be a very effective process.
No.
So you want to try to make sure that the water is clean chemically, preferably is structured linearly, is deuterium depleted if possible. Okay, and so
can you say that again, but this time use it like when you say clean structurally, what does that mean?
Well, clean, clean chemically. That would be like the poor man's way to get tap water clean chemically, is to pour a pitcher of water into a Berkey filter that has both a charcoal and a fluoride filter in it. And so the water goes into the top canister, through the filters, into the bottom canister. And that's your catch basin. It's got a little valve on it so you can put your glass under there and get the water. So that's been cleaned up quite a bit chemically just by running it through those two types of filters. Charcoal will pull out pesticides, herbicides, pharmaceuticals, some heavy metals, and so on. The fluoride filter will pull out the fluoride. The fluoride is, as I said, is binding to the thyroid hormone and creating molecules in the body that will bind to your thyroid receptor sites but have no action inside the cell. And so that causes your temperatures to be low, that causes your metabolism to go down, that causes your immune system to go down, that causes your ATP production to go down. So it's a really bad thing. So you want to get the fluoride out. Now, you want to structure the water also, if you can. So there was a Russian physicist who was given a prize from the Russian government as credited for having saved the lives of several thousand people at Chernobyl. And what he did is he created a quantum physical device that you put on top of a pitcher of water that sends an energy down into the water that changes the water from large clusters, large clumps of water, into little strings of water, what we call linear water. The pores on the cell in our body are small, and big clumps cannot go through those small pores. But a string of water can go through those tiny pores and carry nutrients into the cell and carry toxins out of the cell through that same pore. And so that linear water is available by putting a device that you buy off of a U.S. company, GIAwellness.com, GIAwellness.com.
Oh, yeah.
Has a linear structuring device. It's about $800 or $900, so it's not cheap. But if you take care of it, it'll last for decades. And so you can use that to structure the water after you treat it, however you're going to treat it prior to that. Now, I also talked about the benefit of the water being deuterium depleted. In the tap water in the United States, and even a lot of other waters, even bottled waters, the deuterium content is on average about 155 parts per million. You say, well, that doesn't sound like much, but that's heavy water. That's basically radioactive water. Okay, so we should be consuming diprotium oxide, which is H2O, diprotium oxide, but 155 parts out of every million is actually dideuterium oxide, D2O. That D2O has a hydrogen in it that's twice the weight because it's got a proton and a neutron inside the nucleus inside the center of the atom, and so it's twice the weight. Now, the beautiful thing about that difference in the protium and the deuterium oxide is that the dideuterium oxide freezes at a higher temperature than diprotium oxide does. So if you take a non-cylindrical picture, in other words, a conical picture.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason you do that is because if you put, a cylindrical picture, sometimes crack the picture if you put that in the freezer and start freezing it. But you put a conical picture in there and let the things freeze on the outside part of the liquid, so that after about 2 to 2.5 hours, you'll have a rim of ice around the center of water in the center.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take that out of the freezer, poke a little hole in the top, pour it through a strainer, so that no ice drops down into your container that you're pouring it into, then almost all of the deuterium is left in the ice, not in the water that you pour out.
Wow. Wow.
Now, if you take that water that you poured into your container and put it back into your conical pitcher and freeze it one more time, then you get down to very low levels of dideuterium oxide in that water. So freeze it twice. That the whole process takes about 6 hours, and so then you're making enough to last to meet your daily supply, whatever that is, or for the daily supply of all the people that are going to be using it in your household.
Yeah.
I've learned that when you drink deuterium depleted water, that it causes a spontaneous detoxification of the gut, so you get a diarrhea when you take exclusively deuterium depleted water the first day. But if you take only about 1/4 deuterium depleted water and 3/4 of regular water the first day, and then the next day half and half, and the next day 3/4 of the deuterium water and 1/4 of the regular water, and then after that only deuterium water, most people find that they feel more energetic, that they have more, they fall asleep faster, they
Wow.
stay asleep better, they get more healing of the body while they sleep. So many good things happen. It's actually been used as a cancer treatment in Europe, in Russia and in some of the Eastern Bloc countries, because it's taking away the heavy water, the radioactive water, and causing the body to spontaneously detoxify.
Wow. Wow. So what about reverse osmosis? Because you talked about Berkey, which is filtered water. We tried Berkey, but it was
Yeah.
very complicated for us. And so what about reverse osmosis?
You can do a reverse osmosis filter if it's a countertop model. If you do the under-the-counter model, then you have a big container that catches the water after it goes through the reverse osmosis filter, and that water can actually grow microbes. And so unless you're changing out cleaning out the canister underneath the sink about every month or two, you're going to have contaminated water in the water that you drink. So, but the countertop models don't have a catch basin. It's make it as you need it. And so a countertop model of reverse osmosis works okay. The downside to reverse osmosis water is it has no minerals, so you have to add minerals back.
Just a
So
little bit of salt?
if you're going to, you could use some deep sea ocean minerals from Nutrimetics. That's a very, very clean and well balanced mineral mix.
Okay.
Deep ocean trace minerals from Nutrimetics. Open up a capsule for every quart that you drink, and then once you've added the minerals back to your reverse osmosis water, then you freeze it and thaw it and pour it, and then freeze it again, and then you have the deuterium depleted reverse osmosis mineral enhanced water, and then you put your GIA wellness filter on the or wellness structure on top of that, and make it linear water. So now you have 3-step process or 4-step process that makes it a very effective water for detoxification.
Wow. And it just seems like it's so time consuming to just get clear water. That should be our right, to have clean water.
We have this misconception in the United States that we have lots of rights, but actually we don't have lots of rights.
We don't have it all.
You can get privileges if you work at it, but we have very few rights anymore.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I have one more question. So Jessica wants to know, she says, I feel better eating more veggies. Can you please tell me what category I'm in, or metabolism category I'm in? I think that's what I was called.
Yeah. So a person like that probably can eat mostly vegetables, but if you don't eat any animal source protein at all, eventually you'll become deficient in either methionine, cysteine, taurine, which are sulfhydryl amino acids that are not found in sufficient amounts in plant-derived food,
Hmm.
or you'll become deficient in the branched chain amino acids, leucine, isoleucine, and valine, because those are also not found in very high concentration in plant-derived foods. Or you'll become deficient in phenylalanine or tyrosine, which are building blocks for dopamine, epinephrine, and norepinephrine. So if you're going to do that, if you're going to do a vegetarian diet, exclusively vegan vegetarian diet, you probably need to be supplementing with those free-form amino acids that I just mentioned,
Hmm.
and supplementing with zinc and vitamin B12, because those are also not found in significant amounts in vegan diets.
Yeah, that's why I love the nutritarian lifestyle, because you can use a small amount of animal products, and you can also use vegetables, and so
Yeah,
it's a little bit more with this,
yeah,
like you said in the book, fit the unique you. And
yeah,
so 10th
yeah.
caller texter 407-373-5959. I hope that you've tried this, your luck today with it. Tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning, I am going to be meeting the group that's going to be joining us for the fast. Whether you want to do an intermittent with us or a cleanse, you can tell us how you're feeling, or a juice cleanse, I mean. And please remember that my email is lily@whenyouneedafriend.com. We've already sent out the notifications for everybody. And if you have not received it, there should be 2 emails that you received, my email and also the notification on Zoom. If you have not received it, you need to email me at lily@whenyouneedafriend.com. That's LILLY at whenyouneedafriend.com, or you can go to whenyouneedafriend.com and send me a contact or send me a message through there. Either way, everybody's welcome to join us during this time. We're going to have a small call every day at 8 o'clock in the morning. Any concerns, I'll talk to Dr. Michael Clapper, and hopefully by the 5th day, we will all make it. But if not, that's okay too. No shame. We just are going to embrace our health and support one another and listen to our body. And so, Dr. Cowden, is there anything else that you would like to share with us before we go?
Well, related to that last question, if a person doesn't want to take free-form amino acids, then they can actually consume about 2 eggs prepared the right way
Oh,
twice a
yes.
week.
Let's talk about not breaking the yolk.
Yeah, and get from that egg yolk the things that they need to not have to supplement with free-form amino acids. So from a free-form, from a lightly poached egg or lightly boiled in the shell egg, you will get enough cysteine, methionine, taurine, tyrosine, phenylalanine, uh, leucine, isoleucine, and valine, because those are in perfect balance in that egg yolk. And it doesn't take a whole lot to provide your needs. Now, if you can, and you'll also get from that egg yolk lecithin, which will help to heal your cell membranes and improve your body's ability to detoxify. And you will also get healthy levels of other lipids that your body needs in order to have health. Your brain needs lipids for health. Your brain is about 70% fat, so it needs lots of lipids for health. If you cook an egg by scrambling it or making it into an omelet, then you expose the yolk to oxygen and heat at the same time, and it converts the cholesterol that's in the egg yolk into oxycholesterol, which causes the formation of atherosclerotic plaque in your arteries. That's not a good plan.
No.
And it damages the lecithin, so it's no longer available to help heal the cell membranes of your cells and the mitochondrial membranes. So you're losing a lot of the benefit of the egg by cooking it the wrong way.
Amazing. Dr. Cowden, you're from another world. It's amazing. The information that you know and that you're so freely willing to share is just amazing to me. I'm sure that the people that have joined in today, my viewing friends, as well as the people that will benefit from your information after I post it on YouTube and on podcast, are going to be eternally grateful to learning this. And I want to encourage all of you, if what Dr. Cowden said struck an interest to you, be curious about it. Don't just dismiss it. Be curious and consider that there might be something. Just get a hold of your finger and put your hand there, put it on your lap, meditate for 4 hours and see what your body is telling you, because this is
4 minutes.
Did I say four? What did I say?
You said 4 hours. That'd be a long time.
Oh man, I wish I had that kind of time. Actually, that's
Yeah.
that's probably going to be my Zen-like mentality tomorrow as we start the fast. I'll be meditating. I'll be crying 4 hours a day. But 4 minutes. 4 minutes. Thank you for that clarification. 4 minutes, and ask your body what it needs, and your body will always point you to the truth.
Yep.
It has me, and I am just so grateful that, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and hopefully today's teacher has resonated within you so that you can start tweaking these things that are not right in your body. Just tweak it little by little. Every step counts towards health. And Dr. Cowden, thank you so much for being a part of the classroom today. You're a wonderful teacher.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me on.
And please remember, 10th caller texter, 407-373-5959. Remember, it's your body, your health, and you'll take this body till your last breath. Make sure that you figure out what you want your body to be like as you are taking that last breath in, and for your eternal rest. And who knows what happens after that. So please remember, I'll be right here. I'm looking forward to joining you at 8 o'clock in the morning on Zoom. And if you want to still be a part of that, send an email. Thank you, Dr. Cowden, and I look forward to our next conversation.
Likewise. Take care.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to say goodbye, guys. Bye.